Hi, this is Brent Grover speaking from Evergreen Consulting for Advanced Supply Chain Solutions powered by IBIS. Today's installment is the fourth of four for this month on the subject of expanding your footprint. This is about geographic market expansion. So before we get into this topic today, which is about expanding into new markets, I'd like to review a couple of things we've talked about in the preceding sessions. For one question I want to pose first is about your wholesale distribution business. What is the approach that you take to geographic expansion? I want you to think of being in one of three categories. First of all, that you are indeed planning to expand into geographic areas and you've already targeted where you want to go. The second category would be companies that are thinking of distribution but haven't made any specific plans. And third is wholesale distributors that are not really thinking about expanding their geography. So obviously we're focusing on the first two categories in wholesale distribution strategic planning projects, which we do at Evergreen Consulting. We divide the big decisions distributors have to make into three broad categories, one of which is deciding which products and services you want to provide to your customers. The second one is deciding which customer segments you want to focus on. But third, which is the topic for this month, is which geographic markets do you want to compete in? Where do you want to deploy your troops? Where do you want to put your capital? So thinking of geographic markets, we then could divide our geographic market areas into three categories. One would be the areas we want to harvest, where we are placing little to no emphasis, the areas where we want to maintain our market position, where we're going to continue with the emphasis level we've been providing, and then third, which is the focus and grow category, where we're going to be paying more attention, placing more emphasis in terms of geographic presence. So for those companies who do expand their geographic market position in wholesale distribution, how do they do it? And there are three possibilities. One is expansion, whether it's by acquisition or organically within the market where you already are present, or the markets you're already doing business in. The second category would be acquisitions in adjacent markets. And third, it would be moving into new geographic markets, whether it would be by acquisition or whether it would be greenfield expansion by opening new locations, but in totally new areas. Now, in thinking about new geographic markets for expansion, it's probably not the safest and the lowest cost way to expand geography. In fact, it's more challenging to expand into new geographic markets. We're going after new customers, and most of the customers we're already dealing with are not customers presently, so we're going into totally new areas. Now, amongst the challenges and opportunities of moving into totally new geographic markets, we have a significant test for the stamina of our staff, because we're going to be asking our people to, in some cases, do a lot of driving or possibly flying, depending on how far you're going. And in typical wholesale distribution terms, we're not talking about going to a location several states away, but it may be a new location which is too far for our people to drive to and then return the same day. So that is one way to define a new market that's pretty far away, is that if you can't get there and return the same day from a day of work at the distant location. It may be necessary, particularly if you're starting from scratch in a new market, to relocate a capable and experienced manager to the new location. So somebody who's got the skills has got to be willing to do that. Recruiting sales reps is very difficult when you're opening a location in a totally new market. And for that reason, if you can move a couple of successful salespeople from your organization into a new market, that's ideal, but it's pretty hard to do, because particularly if the people are on commission, they don't want to give up the customers they already have and the territory they've built up. So sometimes an acquisition in a distant market can be better than a greenfield type acquisition, because at least in that case you have existing customers and salespeople with established relationships with those customers. So in terms of expansion geographically into new markets, it would be more common to do that by acquisition than by a greenfield expansion, which would be more typical for an in-market expansion or an adjacent market expansion, such as we talked about in the last couple of sessions. So in summary, going into a totally new market, the highest risk, highest potential return, hopefully. It's a major commitment of people and, of course, capital for working capital and also for facilities and equipment. The planning and coordination with suppliers is extremely important. And to use an analogy I've referred to previously, which is from Peters and Waterman from In Search of Excellence, in this case, we may be expanding our footprint into a new pond, metaphorically speaking, not just to another lily pad in the pond that we're already in. Market conditions there might be quite different, unfamiliar to us. Our suppliers may not want to support us in that new market area. We have a different set of competitors. So much more challenging than just moving into an in-market acquisition or an adjacent market acquisition. So in terms of our overall strategy as a wholesale distributor, this geographic market expansion, it's a big move. It's a strategic move, to be sure. It needs to fit into the company's strategic plan. We're talking about a significant deployment of capital and people. And I will go back to the basics of strategic planning, which is what is your big, hairy, audacious goal, your BHAG for your business? How does this geographic market expansion fit into your big, hairy, audacious goal? And can you make this expansion and stay within your targeted return on sales and return on investment parameters? So that's really the summary of the geographic expansion topic. I look forward to talking with you next month about a different subject. So until then, this is Brent Grover from Evergreen Consulting for Advanced Supply Chain Software powered by IBIS. Thanks.